Okay, how are you, everyone watching at home? I hope you're all healthy. And we meet again in this event called Business Life Inspiration. My name is MG, and right now I am in a beach in BSD. And if you're curious, if BSD has a beach, you can contact me. Okay, friends. Right now, the COVID-19 pandemic, we can all feel the effect and the economy. I am fortunately this happens the first time in the world. The oil price is negative. The one who buy the oil can get a bonus or money. Can you imagine? Oil is produced with a very high cost and technology and the risk compared to mineral water. Right now, crude oil is cheaper than mineral water, even though mineral water is only produced in a very simple manner. And this situation is generally affect all the businessmen in Indonesia, and they have a dilemma of continuing or not to continue, to close down, meaning that they should dismiss all of their employees. Okay, so this afternoon, before I begin, I will want to say hello to all of you who are joining in. And this event is aired live through YouTube. And if you're new to this channel, you can subscribe and like and also comment. You can tell us where, and also don't forget to click the bell button for the notification update so that you can know whether we upgrade a video. Okay, everyone. So the business life and inspiration for today. The topic is blessings in disguise. And we have a guest for today, a couple from Surabaya. The husband is very amazing. He resigned from his job in 2017, 3 years before his retirement age. And he resigned. He's not having early retirement. And he won't be able to get his pension because he resigned. And considering his position, he will get a lot for the pension. There should be a great reason for him for resigning his job. And his wife, 13 years ago, stopped from her job as a sales manager in a national bank in Surabaya. So without further ado, let's welcome our guest, Pak Felix Agung and Ibu Ati Damayanti from Surabaya.
Hello. Hi. Hello, how are you, friends? Hi.
Good afternoon, Pak Felix and also Bu Ati. Wow, the topic for today is surely becoming a hot topic from me. And before I said that you resign from your job, before you are at the retirement age, can you share with us the story?
Yes, PMG. First of all, thank you so much for inviting us, both of us here. And I believe that, especially in this condition, we all need something positive amidst all this condition. If we could share anything positive, is very good for us. But I know that this has been broadcasted live all around the world, PMG. And there's also an English version of it that it's really good for us to strengthen ourselves, to empower ourselves. Okay, if I may categorize this topic, this blessing in disguise, in this life, there is a lot of challenges. If I may categorize all these challenges, most of them are categorized into four things. First of all is financial challenges, because financial challenges could lead fatal, such as currently what we are facing at the moment. The financial situation everywhere is taking a beating. Second of all is health challenges. And no matter how much we spend our money, we spend our money, we couldn't get other people to replace our body. So health is important. Third one is spiritual challenges. And let's start from financial challenges again. I knew that you are a big businessman in the oil industry. That I'm sure that you felt what we're facing at the moment. Everything in the business industry is failing. A lot of them are struggling to stay in business. So everyone is affected. So me personally, I'm an employee for 30 years. The last 18 years, I worked in a food and beverages distributor with like 6,000 employees. My position back then, I worked directly under the CEO, and I felt that I've reached the end of my career, the peak of my career. And I realized that how high I managed to work in my position, I'm still an employee. No matter how high my income is, I'm still an employee. So I realized that I'm working for someone else's castle. I'm working for someone else's dream. And so then I decided to resign in 2017. I do it from my own will. Back then, I used to think like that. I mean, as an executive, you know that as an employee, when we get higher in the ranks, our salaries get higher and higher and higher. And sometimes we are very proud of that, right? And automatically back then, my wife joined FFG around 2007. Back then, I looked down on it because I considered that it's more than enough having money from me, but I see it as something that is that's my wife could do just for the sake of it. So I looked down on the business. But apparently that this business, this is the one that would retire me earlier than I thought in my company, because I'm sure that we both are sure that in this
Oh,
business we are guaranteed financially for our family from then on until the future. So our future is secured, and that's what made me believe that my decision is right to let go of my old business.
okay. This is from your side of the story. And for Buati, can you share your story?
Okay, Paimji. Okay, in the beginning, at around when I was in my 40s, both of us started to think, because both of us are employees in private businesses. So we realized that the limit for our age, well, our working age is around 55 years old. But when we retire on the when we're 55 years old, it would be way too late for us to start a new business then. And so I decided to resign early from my job and look for other business opportunities. And we're looking for opportunities that this wasn't in our minds back then. But as we're waiting for other affordable business opportunities, I thought might as well join this business, because I thought the product is good and I didn't mean anything by it.
Okay. And when you join, you are also a senior manager at a bank. And how do you gain the courage to start the business?
Okay, so when we first joined, I came to this seminar. From this seminar, it opened my mind. So you can say that if I work at home, at in an office, my workplace usually I'm working alone. There's a lot of competitions, and I need to rely just by myself basically. And there's a very significant difference from that business I used to be in to this business. And so back then, when I was just sharing from for my to my siblings and my friends, I can see the potential that this business could grow exponentially because I'm sharing to two people, and these two people would share to other two people, so it just grows bigger and bigger by the minute. And so I realized that for me to pursue this business to reach a bigger goal due to this exponential multiplication in this business. So that's when I realized that I might be
Okay,
serious
after
dabbling in this
10
business.
years, you finally gained the courage to retire your husband.
That's right.
What you have gained for the last 10 years is very convincing for your husband to retire.
Okay, so back then, my husband is still very supportive of me. And so back then, he supported me normally, but there's like a slight disagreement between us because I was needed to go across town and to go to other cities. There's a lot of work, but I try to make him understand what the business is about. Because back then, after I resigned, there's only like a single source of income in the house.
Yes.
And so I convinced him that I'm doing this business just not because of my personal benefits, but I'm also doing this for the family as well, to secure something for the family in the future. Because I'm going to start something after I resign, because we need to look for money to support the family. And so that he understand what I'm doing and he supported me.
If you don't mind, can we know that when you're doing business for 10 years, do you have any challenges, you as a professional and as a housewife doing the business?
Ah, yeah, of course, as a housewife, as a I'm the one who manage the financial conditions in our family, so he could concentrate on his work. So back then, when I tried to explain to him that this business could be the future for our family, my husband supported me fully. So when back then, if I was needed to retrieve the report for our kids at school and I wasn't available, he would fill in my position. So every time I wasn't available in the family, he would immediately step in to fill my shoes. So even though he didn't join the business with me, but he supported me fully as a as my roles in the family.
So in the end, the difference between you and your husband in the journey, you finally get the support from your husband.
Yes, because he knows that we're working together for the future of of our family.
Mm. So Bu Ati, from what I've heard, aside from the business challenges, I heard also that cause you, both of you, to. Can you share with us the health challenge?
Yeah, around early 2018, roughly around February, like late 2017 was the time when my husband resigned, right? So early 2018, on February, I had a stroke. It's a brainstem stroke because it's a serious condition where I was paralyzed, where half of my body became paralyzed, as you can see here in the photo. That my face, even half of my face, become paralyzed. and I couldn't speak properly.
Okay, I can understand that.
Okay, so this is around February. And so I recorded a little snippet of an audio that I recorded back then that I wanted to share to my team, in which I recorded it 5 days after I went back from the hospital, because I'm only spending 10 days in the hospital. And so I decided to record this small audio, and I wanted to share it with my team, to my family, to know, to let them know of my progress. And so can we play it on here?
Yes, of course, sure.
So yeah, let's play the audio now.
Okay.
So, good morning, my brothers and sisters. Allow me to share my story. My name is Ati. I'm currently at home, just doing my therapy because my arms and legs are weakened due to a light stroke I had. But now I'm on the process of recovery and I've regained movement in my arms and legs. Ever since I'm in recovery, every development that I had, I felt like I'm blessed with so many miracles happening around me. Now I'm more convinced we humans are blessed with so many miracles, which priceless miracles. We get to see, do activities, we can walk, we can listen, we can feel, we can eat, we get to function the way we do. This, all this, it's priceless. It's the gift of the Almighty God. When I was happy, when I was fortunate, I never protest. I was always grateful. But when he called for my attention like this, I was even more thankful. I never want to defy him. I accept all this with an open heart, and I'm grateful. I'm not saying that God is testing me. Instead, I believe it's Him reminding me to be more grateful, to surrender to His plans. We never know, so I believe that He's planning something great for me. When I was in recovery, I kept doing all the morning gratitude. I kept listening to positive songs, uplifting CDs, and I made sure I kept doing all that. All my graces, all my thanks for my arms, for my legs, for my muscles, for the sun outside, for the water I drink, the air I breathe. I'm grateful for all. Morning gratitude. It's important that you do it from the heart, just not a ritual. You should really, really mean it. Now, all of you, my friends, my brothers and sisters, who's being challenged, whatever it is, we should completely give in. Do not resist. As long as we are content, as long as we fight, we push through. But then all is God's willing, not ours. Everything that He gives is not what we want, but is surely what we need. I'm pleased and forever thankful for I do love my life. So everyone, stay happy, Stay strong, stay positive. My wishes to you all. I miss you. Yeah, so that's a little snippet of an audio I recorded back then. And then let me explain the process and then the progress on how and why I do that, because I recorded small snippets of videos as well. So let's watch it now. So back then, after I was discharged from the hospital, I started doing therapy. So this is when I was still in the hospital. As you can see on the screen. Back then, I started doing therapy on my arms, on my legs. So yeah, this is it. So I'm using a walker to walk, to help me walk. This is around 21st of February. But amazingly, like on 28th of February, I could walk without the help of a walker. But because I was always grateful, I kept calm, that my process through all this has been amazing for me. And on the 17th of March, I could dance on the stage like this. And then on 29th of March 2018, the way I walk has been 90% normal. And so back then, I decided to video all this progress of me, of my recovery process. And on the 22nd of May 2018, now I'm able to drive. And Alhamdulillah, I managed to do all this now. I recovered. I decided to cook again. And around 12th of November 2018, I decided to go to Europe. And I might say that the routes we took in Europe wasn't easy because we're climbing up hills and down hills. And I almost forgot that I also went Umrah. That I managed to do like tawaf and sa'i. That I decided to ask for strength, for power.
Wow. I'm holding my breath, and when I heard that voice, I got goosebumps. And I imagine that you brainstem paralysis, stroke, and you can still say that you have light disease. And how grateful you are for the stroke. And usually people take it very seriously. How do you, what's your secret in dealing with that so that you can have a quick recovery? You got the stroke at 2nd of February, and 20th of February you can walk without a walker. So can you please share with us?
So back then, like this is what I considered a miracle, because when I decided to make a decision on 2007 to join this, I received a huge blessing for me, because as I joined my spirituality has improved so much, my faith has improved, that I believe that everything I do and everything that in His plan is good for my future. No longer that I get easily angry and everything. And now, back then, because as I became more serious to join FFG, I joined all these weekly meetings and all these weekly trainings, and I was thought to be positive. I was taught to be positive. In my subconscious mind, it's all positive things because every time I've been pressured in my life ever since then, only positive things came out. And even in my condition when I got a stroke, when in my lowest point, all I can think about is positive things. And you might wonder why. I mean, but back then, I took it calmly and I kept being happy back then. If you can see my face, my facial expressions are always happy. And that's what I call a mental revolution because I was being prepared in every session to fill my subconscious mind with positive things. And there's this one training called boot camp, a mental boot camp training. And then I became reborn, and how I can value myself and prepare myself to face every challenge in our lives, and how should I respond to every challenges in my life. And looking things from the health perspective, so back then I mean, I do took a lot of the health products in this business, and I wasn't thinking much, but I do felt better. But then I realized that when I had the stroke and then I need to do a surgery, I consume alpha meta, this brown rice extract, which is a primary and is a really good source of food for our body cells. And alpha meta helps accelerates the growth of tissues and cell regeneration. And then I also use alpha spin to harmonize my body and to protect me from free radicals. So all this started because all that small decision I did in 2007 to join this business, in which I never knew where this business might lead, but now I can reap all the benefits.
Oh, wow, that's very amazing, Buati. So back to Pa Felix, when you meet your wife with that condition, that stroke, what did you give her to enhance the recovery?
Yeah, Pa MG, because I was grateful that if you can see and if you can hear the audio clips and the video clips before, I mean, I felt like I'm in a flashback of where we were back then when we're facing her challenge back then, the brain stroke. And then I do realize that it's
Yes.
it's very difficult for us back then. Wow, it has been a huge challenge for us back then. But back then, we just go through all that very easily. We went through all it happily. We went to malls. We watched movies together with her on the wheelchair. And if you can imagine, me as an executive from this big business, and from late 2017, I resigned from my company. I have been working hard for 30 years, in which I decided to resign and dedicate all this free time for myself and my wife. All this me time. I wanted to go to the Holy Land. I wanted to take a vacation. But on February, just 2 months after, my wife got a stroke. Oh, so a month after I resigned. And so I decided I have to cancel all my plans. And I have to swap my role from the executive from a big company to a full-time nurse. And you can imagine that I never had to take care of someone else before. And there are a lot of funny situations back then, because one of them was when I was still in the hospital. It was required for someone to accompany me 24/7 to help me take a bath, to help me eat. And so back then in the hospital, the one who fed me was my husband. And back then, my husband, who never took care of someone else in his life before, and he fed me. But at first it was okay, but then I realized that why does he keep feeding me rice? Where's all the meat? And so and so he basically fed me all the meat in the beginning, and so there's no more meat in the end, but there's still meat in the middle. And then, like, when we went to malls, he pushed me on my wheelchair. And then, like, every time we took the stairs, he carried me on his back. And as he pushed me on my wheelchair, he pushed me like someone who would push his child. Like, we're racing through the mall, almost to the point that I almost fell down off my wheelchair. That I mean, we're just joking around back then. So, like, we decided to face this together. And there's this one thing when every time we went for the mall, I would always take care of my appearances. And if you can see in the videos, I had long hair back then. So every time I went to the mall, I always straightened my hair. But ever since I became paralyzed, who's my hairdresser? There's no one else but him. So I needed to teach him how to use the hair straightener and teach me how to put makeup on my face. Because all my life, MG, as as a man, I never learned how to use a hair straightener, because there was no need for me to straighten my hair back then. And now I need to take care of my wife. So there's this other thing that I wanted to say, is that the important role of a family in this challenge, the role of the people who are close to the patient, the role of the partner, the role of the children. Because when you heard the audio clips back then, she in the
Yeah, that's what I
recording,
asked for before.
she mentioned that she had a light stroke, but it wasn't really the truth back then. As I asked all the neurologists, all the specialists back then, I think I asked around 6 neurologists. All of them said that, well, ah, I ask all of them is how and when will my wife recover? And all I get is talking about a stroke patient, especially a a brainstem stroke. Let's not talk about recovery first. Let's just talk about therapy. Let's not talk about recovery because it's really hard to talk about recovery. Let's just talk about therapy. It's because it's akin of
Mm.
breaking a vase on the floor, and then you have to pick all the small pieces back together again. And but I'm grateful that we are given the strength by God and the community from the FFG that I could filter all these negative factors, all these negative contents to my wife, and I only feed her positive contents. So all this negative news from the doctor, from the guest, I filtered all of them. So that's the reason why I told my wife that all you had is a light stroke. It's okay. You'll recover quickly. And so in her mindset that she'll be able to recover quickly. And that's the important role as someone being close to her is all we need to feed her is positive things and to empower her spirit and to basically promote her recovery. As you can imagine, like just on that short amount of time, she had a stroke and she could walk again in less than a month. And imagine that this happens on the brain stem. And I was afraid that she might lose her memory. But boy, does she still had a sharp memory back then. And especially about money, because back then in our household, she's the one who managed all our financials because she's the financial minister in our house, the finance minister. She took care of everything money related. But she managed to remember everything. So, for example, like we still have like a few millions in this bank account, a few trillions in this bank account. We got like this, we got this much of gold in this business bank and this bank account in America. So she still remembers all of that.
I
I
mean,
mean, it's good for us. It's self-affirmation, right? And we're grateful. We accepted the condition and we stayed happy. And I think that's the key back then.
okay, Pak Felix and Bu Ati, you said before that on 2017 you resigned from your job, and 2018 February, Bu Ati got a stroke. And in that condition, how is your source of income? Because uh, your family needs to have income because you still have expenses, right? How would you respond to the situation?
Um, okay, I mean, it has been a blessing that we kept receiving up until now. Like I said again, all this like this small decision in 2007 would lead me would greatly we would reap the rewards now. Because on late 2017 when he resigned from his job, automatically we got no other source of income for our family. And then like 2 months later, I got the stroke, which paralyzes me half of my body. And I can only lay down in bed, and my husband is needed to be on my side 24/7. And and throughout that period, we didn't talk about business at all. We didn't talk about all the financial conditions because back then we were so calm knowing that money is still flowing to our bank accounts every week. that gave us so much mental headspace to face this challenge. Because even the medications required for me was very expensive, not counting all the lab tests and all the hospital trips. But this, like I said again, like this decision of me taking this seriously back in 2007, up until now, things just kept flowing and growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And this financial condition is something that allowed us to focus fully on recovery and just clears our headspace to face this challenge together.
So maybe this is the gift that God has prepared you. Wow.
I think that's true. If you can compare it as an umbrella.
Okay, that's very clear. The challenge that you have experienced and also all the other challenges. And before we end this event, Bapak Felix and Bu Ati, maybe you can share with us a few words of wisdom.
If I may, wisdom. So back then, when I took the decision on 2007, all I did was open my heart and open my mind, and then to find this one inspirational thing. And by opening my mind and opening my heart, it leads me to where I am now. So that's what I can say. Just open your heart, open your mind to every opportunities out there. And for me, PMG, we are very grateful to be in this community, this international community of FFG, because all I can receive, all I can say that I receive this is a heart investment for the heart. It's an investment for the mind, because if when your heart and your mind is set on straight, all everything that you dreamed of, everything that you wanted could come true. Because I can see it has been proven time and time again in this community. And speaking of what we're facing at the moment, this coronavirus condition, all we did is to prepare our heart, prepare us, our mind to face this challenge. And so to prepare us for the future, if we set our heart to be optimistic, if we set our mind positive, we believe that we can face every challenge thrown at us. So that's what I think, PMG. We felt that the heart mind is important when you face every challenge in the future. If I may add another thing is that, so this is our personal motto, that your past and your condition at the moment does not dictate your future, but what you do and what you decided to act on this moment is what will decide your future. And that's what we believe in. Okay, so
wow. Wow, it's a very interesting wisdom from Bu Ati and Pak Felix. And I quote that from your wisdom, our condition today does not, our condition in the past does not guarantee the future, but what we do today can guarantee our next future. Before I end, do you want to share any more wisdom?
I think that's it. I think that's all, really.
Okay, so for everyone watching, from Pak Felix and Bu Ati Damayanti, I hope it can inspire all of us when facing the challenges, especially right now during the pandemic. And I also hope that everything that Ati and Pak Felix said can be an answer, can be a solution for all of us, can open our hearts to the problems that we are facing now. Once again, I remind you that our steps today can decide our future. Okay, stay at home, stay safe, and happy, healthy, wealthy. See you at another Business Life and Inspiration. Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. Thank you for listening.